Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Enlightened Affluence, the channel where you come to find resources for your business or maybe see what others are doing and look into what you may want to do. My name is Candra, and as you know, I am your wine provider. I also help with education, financial education, and have a bunch of other resources. So let me know what you're looking for, and I will help you out. Today is an awesomely special interview. The person I am interviewing is the man, the myth, the legend, Ricky Lewis, my dad. Yay! Hi,
Hey,
Dad.
how are you?
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
Now we decided today we were going to do things as a family, and we were going to have some of my wines. I am having the Royal Mama, the red table wine. Really get a new one we have out for June, and Dad is drinking the Great
I'm going to join
Amasa.
you with red table wine.
Yes, now that one was really popular. I think it's still sold out. I think
Uh,
that one was still sold out. So you have to check the site for that one. That was really popular.
I still have a couple bottles that I'm holding on to.
Yeah. They're ageable, so yeah. All right. So we were talking before, and everything. And so basically let's start in the middle, kind of. You before you retired, you were one of the very, very few people I knew who loved their job. And you worked for GTE, which eventually became Verizon and everything. And I know your degree was in engineering, but what exactly did you do for GTE?
Well, starting out, I actually began in engineering doing design of telephone switching buildings. And I did that for probably 12 years. And the department was so small, there wasn't room for further development or promotions. So I ended up staying with GTE, but getting outside of direct engineering design and into building maintenance and facilities. And did that for several years, a combination of building maintenance, building some fleet responsibilities, building fleet and engineering responsibilities, and did that for a total of 33 years before I retired from GTE. And like you said, I enjoyed every day of my job.
And nobody gets to say that. Nobody. You don't even hear that now. I'm building my own company, and there's some days I don't enjoy it.
Every day was fun. Every day was. I was doing something that I enjoyed doing, and doing something I went to school for, and getting paid for it at the same time. So it was enjoyable.
What was the most enjoyable part of it? What was it that that challenged you every day, and made you say, I like this?
Well, and I think that was it. It was challenging every day. It wasn't a routine, mundane job. It had a lot of variety. Um, there was time where I was sitting at the desk doing office responsibilities, plus time of getting out in the field and seeing what the real world of engineering and facilities maintenance was like. So I think that balance probably helped more than anything else. And I just happened to get with a company that was great to work for, a department that was great to work for. I had mentors within my department that was great to work for. I mean, it was just a combination of everything was going right for me. And I really can't think of anything that was not going right.
Wow, mentoring is important. I have a mentor, and it's so important. You think you don't need it, and you do, because you can have an idea and you may know where to go, but a mentor shows you how to get there, how to plug everything in, and everything. So you went to school, and did you like go past a bachelor's, or did you have to get a master's, doctorate? What did you have to do to?
Well, I was happy to get through the Bachelor of Science degree in civil engineering. And I think at that time I was probably exhausted from my education. And my desire was just get in the workforce. So I again graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in civil engineering and gained employment with GTE, which later became Verizon.
Wow, now I know where I get it from, because I didn't want to go past the bachelor's. I was good. I was tired. Actually, I was tired after high school, but
And plus, I had a family to raise. I started the family early, so a good reason to get in the workforce.
and not just a family. There was a lot of us and the cousins too. And so another thing to go into that, you got four of us, like four. And when you start getting past, one, two kids, it can be a little bit sketchy as to, somebody's going to fall off the wagon. None of us are off the way. Everybody's doing something. Danny's got her practice, her naturopathic practice. Kesey's got her business and seriously like engineering, kind of following your footsteps, but we're doing it with coding and got honors coming up. Liz got, endowed in the company, and then I'm forming my corporation, CK Lewis LLC, and all those things coming out. So all four of your kids, we're doing things. What did you do? We know we love you to death. We will fight. Like, that's our daddy. What did you do? Like, what was the frame of mind you had with us?
You mean as you were growing up?
Yeah.
Well, well, I came from what I consider to be a large family, a family of 8. And again, raised by a single mom, and raising 2 groups of kids. There were 4 older brothers and sisters, but they were about a year apart. Then there was a 5-year gap between my older brother and myself. And then there were 4 more siblings about a year apart. So again, I had the idea of having a large family of possibly 8. But years later, when I'm graduating from college and I have 1 child, and then we have a second child, and then we have a 3rd child, I began to realize that a large family could very well be a family of 4. So we decided, again, we were going to try and get that boy. So we had a girl first, we had a girl second, we had a girl third. And we said, well, we just got to try and get that boy. So we tried a 4th time. And of course, we got another girl. So this time the family was big. So we decided 4 was a big family. We stopped at 4.
Yeah. Wow. Just stopped at 4. Yeah. We're glad you stopped at 4. And then you had the 5th daughter, Tanya, and then little Clay coming through. We had to have them whenever we could.
Oh, we always had the extended families, of course.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's talk about grandma. Never got to meet her, but she just, like, the way that she was permeates all of you. And again, you talk about a large family and you talk about, falling off, but you and your siblings are incredible. Like, the love you all have for each other is like, you all are just together. It's amazing. No matter what happens, see you all just come together and just make it happen. Where most families fall apart, you all continue to just keep coming together. What did Grandma Amy put in you all? Like, what was it that you all saw the most that lasted even when she was gone? Because she passed when you were 14, right?
Actually 16 for me.
16, okay.
I was 16. And I think that's really the key to that success. Again, being raised by a single mom, she took her responsibility seriously. She was good with us as children. So as children, we were allowed to have fun. We were allowed to play, but we were encouraged to be successful in whatever we did. And we were encouraged to try hard at whatever we did. We didn't have to necessarily be the best at what we did, but at least put that effort into it. And I think part of that work ethic growing up with a single parent, and then the fact that my mom passed as a single parent when I was 16 years old, and I was the oldest of 4 siblings still at home. So when she passed, and it was actually sudden and unexpected, it was kind of a question of what's going to happen to these 4 young children. So we ended up getting separated. Myself and my next older brother was raised by my oldest brother, and my younger sister and youngest brother were raised by our paternal dad. Again, we were raised in Illinois, in East St. Louis, Illinois, and my sister and brother were raised in Chicago. So the family was somewhat separated. Well, again, because of the work ethic, as it turned out, I graduated from high school and went to the University of Illinois. A year and a half later, my younger brother joined me at the University of Illinois. A year later, my sister joined us at the University of Illinois. Now, unfortunately, my youngest brother never joined us, but again, I guess the idea that as a family, we were separated at a young age and came back together at an older age, I think that helped to forge that bond between us. So just to jump several years ahead, right now, no, my younger sister has been a resident of Houston, Texas for probably 40 some years. And she's been determined to get her family back together. Well, 6 years ago, Houston, Texas became my residence. 2 years ago, Houston, Texas became my younger brother's residence. About 2 or 3 months ago, Houston, Texas became my oldest sister's residence. And the way my sister's looking at it, she has one more brother to go to get to Houston, and she's achieved her goal of getting the family back together. So I think that type of drive, that type of initiative, that type of family bonding or work ethic and so forth, probably a combination of all those things helped.
Yes, and she did not stop there. She's working on all of us.
Yeah, she's working on the nieces too, and the nephews.
Campaign is a campaign.
And the grandson, you name it, yes, yes.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, and then at U of I, I will at your retirement party. I didn't really realize the extent of, you know, how how far you would go for family until Uncle Larry gave his speech. And he was talking about how not only were you that age, but you wouldn't allow them to give up either, whether it be financial, you at your age, even just being a year ahead of them, you would help with financing, you would help with anything you could to make sure that they stayed in school and completed. Like they don't, kids don't come out like that. They don't come out like that. There's something that's in you, and that's a very, especially being at that age and being, separated. That's not an easy feat. It's just not, So how did you like find it in you when things really got like tough? Do you have this thing where when things get tough, you were the first one to show me the chicken soup series, and you had gave us this book too. Don't sweat the small stuff. I wanted to at you. I was like, I'm a small stuff, Dad. Like, oh no.
Oh yes, oh yes.
So what is it like, when you really like were hitting those things, because that's a lot of things back to back. What did you do? What was your mindset? What did you say to yourself? What were your affirmations to like get through these things?
And again, probably a combination of things, but probably overall, and I think this is just we were raised. I don't think we understood the word quit. Quit never, it was never a concept of us. So whatever we were doing, we never thought there was an option of quitting it per se. So I think that drive and initiative was probably was foremost. Now, for me personally, in again attending the University of Illinois, I enrolled at the U of I in 1968, and at that time there was a war going on, the war in Vietnam, and students were getting. In fact, that was the last year that students got what they called a deferment, where if you were in college, you would not get drafted in the war. But that was the same year that they started the draft lottery system. And it just so happened, I think my lottery number was number 18, which meant that out of 365 days in the year, I was in the first 18 groups that if I was not in college, I would be drafted into the services. Well, just the idea of going to war, right out of school didn't appeal to me. So that was a big encouragement, you might say, for, when things got tough and you go through those time periods, can you make it, or can you get through it? How are you gonna get through this year to the next year? I think that lottery number kind of was a big encouragement too. So, that was a big encouragement there.
So Uncle Sam had something to do with that. Huh?
Oh yeah, he helped out.
He encouraged you to stay in school. Oh my goodness. So let's go into U of I. When you first were exposed to U of I, were you first exposed to U of I through the Upward Bound program? Is that how you first found out about U of I?
Yes, Upward Bound, again, that was a college prep program that underprivileged children or underprivileged schools were allowed to qualify for spending their summers being educated at the University of Illinois in prerequisite courses, math, rhetoric, and so forth. So that was my first exposure to the University of Illinois. That was my biggest encouragement that there was additional education beyond high school. Because other than that, the environment that I was in, you graduate from high school and you look for a job, probably a factory job somewhere. So that exposure to that there's a secondary education that's out there for you, that you can do more things. That came about through the University of Illinois. And then as a follow-up to that, I hope I'm not getting ahead of you, but I was accepted into the University of Illinois on a special program called SEOP, a Special Educational Opportunities Program. And that's where to meet, for lack of a better term, a minority quota, the university opened up their admissions to high school graduates that may not have fully met their requirements, but with taking some prerequisite courses during their freshman year, they were accepted into the Special Educational Opportunities Program. So again, that was another opportunity that was made available to me, that I was able to take advantage of, and again, continue my education beyond high school.
Oh, wow. So we're gonna go back to high school. East St. Louis Lincoln.
East St. Louis Lincoln Tigers.
Well, the one thing I always, loved about growing up was we were an academic household. Like, academics were important, but that house was always full of music. Always full of music. If it wasn't you and now I just decide, no, Dad, what was going on with Soulful Strings? How? When you would come in the house and put on the Soulful Strings, you notice none of us came downstairs. We're like, this must have been one of those days.
Hey, that was my go-to. That was my go-to.
I mean, those strings were going just Dad's down there on the piano. Oh yeah. Oh, it's just but in East St. Louis Lincoln, that's where is that where you got with the Young Disciples, your band that you played tenor sax with?
Yes and no. It was at the time that I was attending Lincoln High School, but it was not a program through Lincoln High School. The Young Disciples came about, I was, in fact, I was in my junior year of high school when I heard about them. But basically what happened with the Young Disciples, there was a young man by the name of Alan Murray that played alto saxophone, and he had been traveling with Ray Charles. But he had developed an asthma condition that the road work was just too much for him. So he left Ray Charles, came to East St. Louis and worked in one of the local community centers there, where after a few years of different programs within the community center, he decided to form a band. And so he recruited, I think when I found out about it, there were 8 members in this band, and they had 3 songs that they were performing. And so a friend of mine told me about it, and I said, hey, that sounds good. So I joined the band in 1966, probably the latter part of 66. Again, at that time, we were a band of 8 members, 3 songs, and we built from that to the point that when I graduated 2 years later in 1968, the Young Disciples had become an orchestra of 20, I think it was like a 26-piece orchestra. It had several single vocalists, trios, multiple groups, Afro dance troupe. I may be missing out a few, but they became a conglomerate, you might say. Well, again, the Alan Murray was wanting to encourage some of us to stick around and build the Young Disciples program around us. But myself and 3 of my closest friends were all graduating in 68, and we had all been accepted at the University of Illinois. So again, Alan was grateful that we considered it, but also was encouraged to promote us as far as going on to college and completing our education. But yeah, but music started in grade school, my 4th grade up through junior high school and high school. And then with the Young Disciples, performing with them. And by the time I graduated, we were traveling, playing inside prisons, playing concerts within the local community. We had backed up groups such as Isaac Hayes when they would come to East St. Louis to perform. We were the band that played behind them. So a lot of exposure as far as the music field, a lot of love as far as the music field. But for me, music was secondary. And at that time, going to college and eventually going into engineering was primary for myself.
Well, you say music was secondary, but you have an ear that's incredible. Like I would just sit and watch you, and like you would play a song maybe twice, just like play it through a little bit, and then you knew the song. You could play the song. Your ear was always amazing to me as a kid. And I feel like, in some parts of it, I did pick that up, but I think Caden has picked it up and run with it. His ear is amazing. Um, knowing how to like, know what key immediately, like he'll hear a song, he's like, I have put it in my key and things like that. And then you used to like, I would see you would write songs. So you had like different, your notebook, you would write songs and things like that. How old were you when you started playing saxophone?
Let's see. Fourth grade was a flutophone. So saxophone started in the fifth grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we started off with the little flutophone, and that was the basics. And then also, like I say, four of my very best friends, we all played saxophone. Robert Merriweather played alto sax.
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Davis played alto sax. I played tenor sax. And Larry Lawrence played the baritone. So we had the whole range of saxophones covered in my closest friends throughout grade school, junior high school, and college. So I had a big support group.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's not forget singing. You say you try to sing, Dad. You have a beautiful.
No, I didn't. I didn't really. I always wish that I could sing. I don't even call it trying.
I'm gonna find this. I have a video, and I
Oh
need to
no,
find
no,
it.
you don't.
I do. I have a video, and you had come to visit one time, and you were on the saxophone, but you would go between the saxophone and teaching Caden how to scat. So you and him were having your own jam session in the living room. I have to find this video because I stood around the corner.
I don't think I know about this one, Candra. This is news to me.
Yeah, and I still have the video you sent when you were singing for us and everything, where you had the camera on your lap and everything. It's just like, a lot of times we underestimate our talent, and I think that you have underestimated your talent on all forms. I know you loved your job and everything, but you were extremely like musical between the dancing house. So that, we were doing with mom, and putting me in the instrument that weighed more than I did. That I had to walk uphill.
Both ways.
Both ways. Scary. I started with the alto. I was so happy. You said, great. Now you got the tenor. I said, what? I gotta go
bigger. hey, I carried that tenor too. Yeah. We both carried tenors.
Carried the thing, just getting it on the bus and everything. But I have a bunch of ribbons behind it and everything. And I started back up playing it more regularly last year.
Oh, good.
Last year I started back up playing. I wish I had we have a keyboard in here now, but did you ever take formal piano lessons at all?
Oh no. Everything I just picked on the piano.
That was
never took lessons.
Oh my goodness. Seriously, that was not Peggy. Like that's just natural, raw talent. So why did you, even though you went into engineering, why did you think music was so important? Music was everything at home. It really was everything. The arts were everything at home. Why was that still important for us as your kids to know and have?
Well, I'll go back to the foundation. A single mom, and we grew up at the time period where we lived in what was true poverty. We'd go to school and we'd read these books about about the lifestyles of the Black community and the lifestyles of the white community. And we're reading this stuff and we're saying, well, we don't have to read this. We're living it every day. So we actually grew up poor. But despite that, again, going back to the single mom, No, musical instruments, there's a price that comes with it. So, being in going from the fourth grade, where probably the flutophone might have cost $15 or so, I don't know. But again, we wanted to play a saxophone. Now we're talking about an instrument that costs hundreds of dollars, and a mom that's single and poor. But she found a way to get me the saxophone, and I guess looking back on that, realizing that no, if she would put that much of effort into it, and she saw that much of the importance in it, no, a lot of that just migrated down through the family. And then again, music, sports, athletic, and so forth, they teach you things such as discipline. It teaches things such as look just a little bit deeper. Find that musical note. So it teaches you to go after things even more so. And I think between those two things, that the support of a single mom and putting the time and effort and the expense into providing for a son, and then taking it and saying, oh, there's even more to it than that, and taking it even further. I think that was as much of a motivation than anything could be.
She sounds wonderful. You do keep I have like pictures of her and everything. I have to put them up and everything. She taught you all well. She taught you all
She
well.
did. She did.
She really did. And if I can be even this much, this much of a parent as she was, and as we were raised to be, I think we'll be all right. Caden is he seems like he's all right. And, I don't have to strangle him every day. No, he's a
Caden is doing well. He
he's
is
a
doing
good
well.
kid. He's a really good kid. I'm very, very, very fortunate. I don't know how I would be able to do it before, but he is a really, really good kid. Really good kid.
I agree.
Yes. So you are starting back up. You now have in your possession a silver saxophone. You do, you do. We'll have some jam sessions when I come out and have to pack it up.
Yes, my wife got that for me 2 months ago as our wedding anniversary. So
and,
yeah, I'm back in the saddle again. I'm getting back on the bike.
yay, yay. Absolutely. So I'm definitely going to have you back on again because I do have more questions and there's more story. There's a whole lot more story that you have, Dad. We only got to college.
Oh, yeah, you mean it's life beyond college, huh?
There was
There
like,
you go, there you
oh
go.
my, I tell you one thing though, I did enjoy, I think we all enjoyed when you could take us on the business trip.
Oh, yes, that
Yeah,
was fun both ways,
you
yes.
could take us on the business trip, especially go on a little plane. And
A little plane, you went on a Learjet, a
we went on that
nine-seat
one too.
Learjet.
We went on that one too. It was a small business, you like going on the jet. We didn't know what to do with us. We were like,
Yeah,
yay. I remember
yeah.
the first time I saw a Super 8, I was like, what is this?
Yeah, that's just one of the perks of working for a large corporation. You get to do things like that, yes.
But you taught us well too. Actually, I had to bring you up the other day. We one of the free courses that we offer within the partnerships that I formed is Financial Fridays. And we talk about things that go outside of what you know to really see like how money works. Not just going to earn it, but how does it work? How do you get it to earn from you? And I wasn't expecting to say anything, but they called me out and said, "Hey, how old were you when you first started learning rather about the importance of financial and being financially fit and credit scores and things like that?" And I was like, "Well, I do remember my father when I was going to get my car. I was so happy. I remember I came up, threw that money down in cash, and was like, I'm trying to get my car, Dad." And you were like, "Yeah, I'm not even going to ask you about it." He said, we went straight to the credit union. And you were like, she wants an auto loan. I do not want a loan. You want this loan. I was 16 years old and I had my first loan at 16 years, like you pay it on time. And I was like, at that time, I didn't realize how much like I really didn't like debt, and it just like bugged me every day. And you were like, good, that means you'll pay it on time and you'll pay it off. So I paid it off in 8 months and everything and started, credit history there. But the most impressive lesson, I still haven't done this with Kate, and I might need to do it. You were sitting at the kitchen table and we were like, hey, daddy makes we this whole conversation that been going all week. Daddy makes money. Daddy makes money. I come in there and you had the bills out. They were neatly stacked and everything. You had the checkbook. Then you had your paycheck. And I was like, all right, daddy, we'll pay it off. We're gonna go get this one. You said sit down. And I watched your paycheck just go. And I was like, whoa, dad, whoa. And you said, yeah. And we haven't even gone grocery shopping yet.
That's where it was, indeed.
Two kids. So I actually have a part in my book that is coming out in July where I talked about us going grocery shopping.
Okay,
So
all right.
I'll be able to read about that when it comes out. But there was a way you taught us how to grocery shop, and I still use it and have modified it into how I grocery shop. Now, with groceries going up, um, I haven't been able this past month. I wasn't able to stay on my $30 a week, but I've been able for a long time to spend $30 a week. Remember when we were in New York still, I could spend 75 to 100 in grocery shop for the month, fill the freezer. Remember me and Simone would go out and you came in one day and you gave me like the biggest compliment ever. You told me I reminded you of your mom.
Ah,
Yep.
but she had to do the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Single mom, welfare. Yep.
Yeah, and I wasn't on welfare, but I just did not feel like, I felt like there were other things to do. And I figured if I can, you know, do this here. And it became like a challenge with me and Simone would go out and be like, okay, let's see if we can stay within this budget, but still have the lamb chops and still have, all these. And that's how it expanded us cooking and getting into the recipe creation. So it was like, there's so many things you don't realize that you're learning as a kid that are going to come back as an adult and just really, it can turn into something so beautiful. So, but absolutely, I'm going to interview you again. But if there's anything at all, this like on this channel, everybody, the target audience is either entrepreneurs or people who work a 9 to 5 but have what's called the side gig, or people who are even thinking about getting into something new and they're just afraid.
Mhm.
So what would you say to them, Mr. Batten 1,000, because you have 4 daughters who go for it? All your kids go for it, and even your grandson is going for it. What what advice would you give
Well, I'm not the best in giving advice in general, but I'll take a stab at it.
us?
I guess one thing I would encourage you, dream big, follow your dream. If there's something that you really, really want to do, something that you really, really want to achieve, go for it. Again, there are steps you have to prepare for as far as your keeping your day-to-day life manageable from day to day, but continue to follow that dream. Uh, I, Again, my philosophy is that everybody should have a job that they enjoy going to every day. That should be the goal of every working person, whether it be a job or business, but something that you enjoy. Life is too short, life is too precious not to enjoy it. And when you think of it, your work time easily takes up 30 to 40% of your day. So if that part of it is not fun, what do you have left to have the fun? Sleeping, eating, cooking, the other things that you have to do in that other 2/3 of the day. So I guess that would be my encouragement. Just remember that life is so short for you not to enjoy it, for you not to be doing something that you enjoy and not to achieve what you want to do.
That's perfect, Daddy. That's why we love you. And I thank you so
Love you
much
too.
for gracing my channel. And I will definitely have you back on. I love you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to end this recording and finish our wine together.
There you go. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity of being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for giving me life and for giving me the strength to dream and to keep pushing for what I want.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.